We've got some breaking news, drama at the Masters, where Tiger Woods has made the cut at Augusta National. Woods completed his second round this morning and at the time was sitting on the outside looking in at 3 over par. He needed Sung J M and or Justin Thomas, who were both sitting at 2 over at the time, playing to bogey either of their last 2 holes to move the cut line. They both did. JT did one worse and then missed the cut at 4 over. For Thomas, he misses the cut by a stroke, his first missed cut in 8 starts at the Masters. But back to Tiger Woods. JT's loss, Tiger's gain. Matches Gary Player and Fred Couples with the most consecutive cuts made at 23. By the way, for Couples, the oldest player to make the cut at the Masters, the 1992 Green Jacket winner, gets it done at 63 years of age. Tiger's in his mid to late 40s, though, and it's getting it done, albeit under some weird circumstances. Rick Gehman joining us here as he's done all week long. Rick, what do you think about Tiger Woods now making the cut, making it to the weekend, even though he's technically already played here on the weekend?
Yeah, that's right, Tommy. He did what he had to do on Saturday morning. It wasn't necessarily the most beautiful thing in the world, but he got the job done and punches his ticket to the final 2 rounds at Augusta National. I think what is most interesting is how he deals with the rest of the day. I mean, this is going to be a seemingly pretty quick turnaround for him. When you make the cut on the number, you're going to be one of the first golfers that go out on during round 3. So he's going to be asked to fire this back up and turn it around very, very quickly. I think it's going to be interesting how he handles the physical side of things. We know that this is the most grueling walk in golf for him, and with all the injuries and the surgeries post-accident, walking alone is very difficult for him. Then you start throwing in the rain, the winds, the other conditions, the length of this golf course. Now it's going to be a true test for Tiger to see if he can gut it out and what he can do over the next 18 holes.
Yeah, Tiger did bogey 17 and 18, so he didn't end well on the day, but we'll be right back out there. So again, how we determine his rest and recovery is one thing, but from what we just saw today, the limited action that we saw from Tiger, how do you best describe that?
Yeah, I thought it was fine. Clearly, he's uncomfortable. I mean, this is a 30-degree difference from what they had yesterday to what they got this morning. And I thought that the putter looked a little bit better, and I think it's gotten better each day of this tournament. He just really lacked distance control over the course of his first round, and then the portion of round 2 that he got in on Friday. And it's starting to seem like he's getting the control on the greens again. Now he's going to be tasked with getting to the greens and putting himself in the proper locations over round 3 and round 4 to give himself an opportunity with the flat stick. But I am encouraged by the way he rolled it early on Saturday morning.
All right, we'll keep tabs on Tiger Woods, of course, and a guy that's finishing strong, although he didn't finish strong on 18, is Jon Rahm. Now just 2 shots back of the leader, Brooks Koepka. Arguably a tougher second 9 with the restart here. His scrambling's been pretty elite right now. What do you think about Rahm heading into the 3rd round?
Yeah, this was a masterclass, Tommy, in how to play in difficult conditions. To only be 2 shots back of Brooks Koepka, where Koepka got the absolute ideal, perfect weather draw, and Jon Rahm got the absolute worst of it is incredible. And it's a testament to not only the physical skill sets that Jon Rahm has, but also the mental side of things. You know, he is able to just continue on. He puts his head down and he grinds through every single shot. His short game is elite, and you have to remember, I mean, things could have gone sideways for Jon Rahm very early in this championship. He made a double bogey on the first hole on Thursday thanks to 4 putts there, and he was so quick to get both of those shots back and forget about it and move on. There's really very few things, if anything, that is going to stump Jon Rahm mentally or pose a challenge to him. So I'm incredibly impressed. I think that there's a chance that he's the guy donning the green jacket on Sunday night, which would be his 2nd major championship. Obviously, a lot of golf to be played between now and then, but Rahm is looking very, very strong.
And can you expand on the underlying numbers? I mentioned the scrambling. Now, obviously, the guys that are near the top have those great numbers, but it seems like Rahm, especially what we're seeing today, has been special.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, when you get these sloppy conditions, Tommy, what we saw this morning was a lot of missed greens, which is to be expected. The golf course is playing incredibly long right now. It's bad. The wind, the wet conditions, the rain that's coming down. These guys are not able to reach anything in two, and they are basically playing from greenside constantly. So the increased amount of missed greens lends itself to the guys who are really good in the short game category. So to see Jon Rahm, who has all the shots in his bag, excel in these conditions, it shouldn't be that big of a surprise because he can separate himself from the rest of the field. We saw some other guys in similar situations. Patrick Reed, one of the elite short game players that we have in the world, also thriving in these conditions. So as it continues to get a little muddier, a little nastier, a little soggier out there, you think that the guys who are able to get it up and down from greenside and make par are going to have a way to separate themselves from the rest of the field.
If we continue on that weather topic here, projecting forward to that third round, what other observations have you had? I've seen a lot of guys wipe their driver. Obviously, they're wearing different gear, some rain gear. Things seem to be at times a little more cumbersome for the players at Augusta.
Yeah, certainly not a meteorologist here, Tommy, but I could kind of describe the multifaceted problems that they're going to encounter during round three. First off, I mentioned it already. It's 30 degrees colder than it was yesterday. So the how far your golf ball is going, they've already had to adjust to that. Wearing multiple layers makes it generally more difficult to complete your swing and get the full turn that you're looking for. Obviously, they are playing through rain that is coming down pretty steady and pretty strong. And honestly, they're expecting the worst of it to come around 1 p.m. Eastern time, local time, so it's probably not even coming until later in the day. And what you might hear is this buzz, this low murmur out there on the golf course. That's the sub-air system, Tommy. There's a system under the ground here that's able to pull moisture out from the putting surfaces. So it's an incredible piece of technology. They have it running all the time, and they've had it running all night. So I expect the greens to be able to still firm up a little bit depending on how much water they get. They'll at least be a little bit receptive. They'll at least be a little bit challenging. You'll see spin there, but it is going to be super long off the tee. These guys are hitting it nowhere near what you would normally expect to see from their distances, and just throw the yardage books out the window because it's all about creativity. It's all about the shot that you are playing in the moment, assessing the conditions, and hoping that you got as many of those variables correct as possible.
Yeah, we show the timeline of the two suspensions on Friday, then play resumed, of course, today. The Patriots, they can't run, but they were walking briskly to try to get to their spots so they could see guys like Tiger Woods and Jon Rahm finish their round. A guy that got to watch it all was Brooks Koepka. We talked about him being able to finish early with the maximum potential optimization of the weather there. What do you think about Brooks Koepka moving forward?
Things could not be going better for Brooks Koepka right now. I mean, he was probably snuggled in bed this morning, laughing at those guys out there on the golf course in those conditions. He's obviously going to have to get out there and play in them himself. But what we've seen from him golf-wise over the last two rounds has been near perfection. You know, I went back and watched every single shot he hit over the first two rounds, and I think I found one bad swing. It was the drive on Thursday at 13. Otherwise, he's been completely dialed in from tee to green. He looks healthy, Tommy. He looks like he's got that look in his eye that we get from Brooks Koepka at major championships. He's going for his fifth major here, which would not only kind of cement his place in golf history, but it would also create some more storylines about the whole Live Golf versus the PGA Tour. I mean, it's just, there's a lot of ramifications coming from the outcome of this Masters, and especially if it is someone like Koepka who could add a fifth and have a handful of major championships on the resume.
I'm just really excited potentially here for a weekend of seeing sort of a mano-a-mano, and I know we'll talk about the Chasers in just a second, but Brooks on one side and Rahm on the other side there, Rick?
Yeah, they should just fight it out, right? Like just a heavyweight bout. Like they don't even need to play golf. No, it's so cool. It's obviously, two of the biggest names that we have, guys with unbelievable skill sets, two big boys who can move the ball and hit all the shots, one for the PGA Tour, one for Live Golf. It's setting up to be a really dynamic and fun final couple of days here, Tommy. I'm stoked for it.
All right, so we're halfway through the Masters tournament. Obviously a chance to get back in from a betting perspective as well. If I were to ask you right now to kind of hit the reset button, who would a golfer be that you'd like to maybe lay a little bit of juice on here?
Yeah, so you got to look at this board and the odds, and the two guys at the top that we talked about, Rahm and Koepka. You probably can't touch them at this point, especially with the amount of chaos that you kind of expect over the course of the next 2 days. We've already seen it here early on Saturday. Guys have trouble keeping their golf balls dry, their club faces dry. Things are going sideways. I think you have to embrace a little bit of that chaos. So someone like Jordan Spieth, who is a couple of shots back, you imagine there's going to be some leaderboard gravity here, and things are going to tighten up. If we're playing a game of throw the yardage book out the window, go be creative, go hit a shot, there's nobody in the world I want more than Jordan Spieth in those conditions, and there's no golf course in the world I want him on more than Augusta National. So I think if you're going to try to find a chaser from further in the pack, Jordan Spieth is the guy that you should be clicking.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.